So for today, real quick, I'm doing Algebra 2, which is now partially a review of Algebra 1, more so than I thought, which is a good thing for me, because I already know how to do Algebra 1. Anyways, this video, I realize most people, if they, don't haven't done algebra, probably aren't intending to. But if you've never done algebra and you're curious, this isn't anything hard. I'm not going to go anything crazy. This I just want to show you something. See, okay, the letters U and 5U. That's what everybody says. Oh well, I don't understand algebra when it starts to involve letters. And now there are certain letters and symbols, but it gets into higher levels of algebra and calculus and stuff that do come into play that are a little more like how you would think. But these are so simple. All the U is doing is saying we don't know what that number is, but we know we need to square it and then subtract it and then multiply it and then add 3 to it to come out with our formula for track and field or whatever it is we're trying to find out. So we got to run all these people through and find out what's the optimal number from their scores and plug it in. So that's what the U is. You could even it's unknown. It could be X. It could be Y. It could be any letter. Sometimes if I have an unknown value, say I have say money. I don't know how much money it's going to take to do something. But I know I have a cost of -$7, and then I will get some extra money for another another $4 over here when Joe Schmo pays me back, all that. But at one point in all my budget figuring, I'm going to have one part that, like, I don't know how much money I'm going to get, okay, for whatever reason. So when I figure in everything else, I just put a W right there. Now this looks a little more scary because it's squared, but anybody knows anything about square roots or squares is it's just whatever number times itself. So what this See, the U, it tells you in this one here, it tells you what the U, okay, say we didn't know and then we just finally got paid and we owed taxes, and I know it's getting a little more complex. We owed taxes, so we got -$4 on our check. We got $4 debt to the government. So anyways, what we would do is then when we need to figure out all of our budget, when we figure out all of the rest of the numbers we do, then we plug it in and we take that U out. That U completely disappears. Goodbye. Goodbye letters. The letters don't mean anything. They don't hold any numeric value except for we know, and I could have made that a P, I could have made it a Q, I could have made it a frickin' picture of an ostrich. It doesn't really matter. The point is, the letters in beginning algebra or basic algebra are just numbers that we don't know where they're at. And everything else is the same. Look, like I said, you got squaring, so whatever it is, we're going to plug in the -4 here. So -4 squared is what we're going to have here, which would be 4 times 4 is 16, and it's, and it's two negatives. And if you don't know, it's negative times a negative equals a positive. Anyway, so you're going to have 16 here. Minus, and in algebra, anything right next to each other defaults to multiplication. Just one of those little things you got to learn. And then once you learn how to read this, and it's not so scary. You got -5 times -4. Well, 5 times 4 is 20. You have a negative times a negative, which is, like I said, one of the things you got to just memorize, is going to be a positive. So you're going to have positive 20. What did I say here? 4 and 4, 16. So this equates down to 16 minus 20 plus 3. Is that crazy? I'm talking, really? This is basic math. Basic, so basic. Let me work this here. What do I got here? I'm going to write down what I had up here. U squared minus 5. Oops, sorry. 5. And yes, that's my weed pipe. I am doing this high. Sorry. That's how easy algebra is, really. 5U, not when you're first learning stuff, but this is basically review. Okay, so if U squared minus 5U plus 3, and we know U not you, but you, equals, what was it, negative 4. So now all I have to do you understand what I'm doing here with the letters? That just represents what we didn't know this was going to be. But like I said, say the results just found out the optimal number for whatever it is we're figuring in our little calculation budget, best scores on track and field, whatever you got going on. So you plug in negative 4 squared. Do you see that? That's a U, by the way, not a V. Sorry. I'm working through the camera here. Minus 5. Like I said, that defaults to say 5 times U. We don't use the X's like in arithmetic because a lot of times we may use an X here and we'll get it confused. That's why. That's also why I sometimes use a little dot. But when something's right next to each other like that, a variable like that, if it was a number, we would put brackets because otherwise it would look like 50, not the minus sign, pretend it was positive. It would look like 54. Anyways, so we have negative 5. And this is how I would write my times to distinguish that I'm going to do multiplication. I would make that. Instead of writing negative 5 times negative 4. Because it almost looks like you have another variable x here, but you don't. You see what I'm saying? So anyways, it's the same thing as that in old school arithmetic. It's just written differently. All right. Plus 3, which is just plus 3. There's nothing spectacular about that. So like I said, 4 squared means, if you don't know, squared is 4 times 4. And if this was 4 to the third power, it would be 4 times 4 times 4. To the fifth power, 4 times 4, or 4, you know what I'm saying? You multiply 4 times itself that many times. So I need to multiply negative 4 times negative 4. Negative 4. See here I could use, on my little side little thing, I'll still use my little old school x's, times negative 4. Which we know 4 times 4 is 16. And like I said, that's a pre-algebra rule. You learn about negatives and positives. Negative times a negative equals a positive. Don't ask me why. I can't explain that one, to tell you the truth. Anyway, so we have 16 for our first number. That's what that one, when we figure it out. And there's laws. You have to do that first. It's just little laws, and they told me this was like a language, and I didn't understand that at first, and now I do. It's the same arithmetic you've always done in school. It's just about rearranging it. That's really all algebra is. So we have 16. Now we had negative 5 times negative 4. Well, 5 times 4 is 20. Here we go with our double positive in multiplication. So it's going to turn into positive 20 plus 3. So that's obviously 36, 37, 38, 39. 39. You like my old school number counting trick, elementary? I knew I had 36, and I counted the little points on the end of my 3 because there's 3 points. 36, 37, 38, 39. Okay, all right, I'm not going to elementary school. Anyways, 39 should be our final answer here. Because it says evaluate when it equals negative 4, and we did that. Evaluate basically means to solve. That's another one of the, you got to know what they're asking for. But it's more about really learning the terminology and the steps of what to do. But you can see all I did here was I plugged this number in here where the U was, and then it was just simple multiplication, and then what was it? And then addition and addition. That's it. That's how simple this is. And the green check means that I am correct. And the little key shows the answer key. And it should say 39. 39, what do you know? So now I'm on to my next question. I have 15 questions. This is a whole entire section I get to do, which, I took 10 minutes to do this problem in the video because I was explaining it. I can do these problems in like 2 minutes apiece. Nice. I'm liking Algebra 2 in these parts. I just got done mastering functions, which was a little different, but to tell you the truth, so simple. It was hard until the instructor explained it to us. It's a lot of plugging in numbers like that is really what it is. And then now I'm going to do systems of functions and stuff like that, which will involve a little bit more like different stuff I've done, inequalities and equations, systems of them, and then graphing them. It's all the same. It's just going to be functions. I got it. So all right, all right, all right. Cutting this video short. There it is. I'm on to my next problem. That one's a little bit different. That one will have some distributing, but it's still, real quick, I'll show you what distributing is. When you see this written like this, then you say negative 6 you'll say 6 times 3, or 6 times C, so you'll remember how you write that 6 next to the C. So you basically just take the bracket out of there. And then 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, so then you're going to have 6C plus 18, but you have a negative sign yet to multiply to it. So you're going to end up with negative 6C minus 18. Anyways, and I go into, it's basically the same thing as like adding or subtracting. If you have something that has a C, that could easily be, say, 7 minus 6 because it has the C matching it. You can only do that if they match. And but see, it's just stuff like that. It's not any different. I'm still adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, basically. You do some lowest common multiple, lowest common denominator, that type of stuff. You need it, but all of the math you do is really still your same old math. It's just about it written in a different form and learning how to flip it around and manipulate it and all that type of stuff. That's really what algebra is. It's manipulating numbers and to find out the unknown of a number. Like I could show you different ways to find out. I could have found out what W was without being told. There's a way to do it. It's in the numbers what you have, and then it's more of a balancing it out, to tell you the truth. Anyways, alrighty, I gotta go. Got homework to do, and I'm almost out of memory here. It's been long enough.